Warning coming.
Yep.
Keep it on that shot. I'm going to get a screenshot.
All right. Hey, everybody. Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather, and you're looking at a storm that is over Franklin right now. This is from the tower cam up in Gallatin that we have up there on a hill just north of town. We're looking at the storm over Franklin, which now has, as you can hear there, a severe thunderstorm warning. Storm Watch Plus for the win. Severe thunderstorm warning now for Williamson County, and that's going to be for this storm over Franklin that you're looking at on the Super Mega Cam, as we call it. And this is a storm that is producing likely some hail over Franklin. At least it is aloft, and it looks like now that hail core is going to be coming down right over Franklin. So it looks like let's go back over here to the radar. We'll go back to the picture here in just a minute. Will's joining me over on our live stream here, and he's going to be taking reports. But let's look at this polygon here. This is for a severe thunderstorm warning polygon over Franklin, and does include Nolensville and Page High School, Arno, all the way over to Triune. But you guys in Franklin, you guys have got a hailer coming, and it looks like the hail's going to start falling right here around Battleground Park, School Manor, Shadow Green Apartments, Polk Place. Over there, kind of along Mac Hatcher and those neighborhoods right along Mac Hatcher and 431. So looks like we could have some hail start coming here in Franklin very shortly. And let's go over to the hail view here, and really an impressive hail core now over Franklin and especially South Franklin. So this is, again, let's go back over to our camera. This is up in Gallatin, and this is looking south at that storm over Franklin. And we got night vision on here, so you can kind of see the structure of the storm. And this thing's a pretty good beast. It's got a lot of good structure with it. The Weather Service is noting over on the chat that we're in with them over there that 70 dBz, which is a radar reflectivity value up to 30,000 feet and getting taller. So this thing is getting stronger and is very electrically active, as you can see there on the camera. So that is why we have, or the Weather Service has issued this severe thunderstorm warning for Franklin and areas east of Franklin. Over toward Nolensville and down toward Page High School and down. So I actually just got a text from a friend who lives just south of Franklin, and he says there's crazy hail there right now. So that thing is now coming down and dropping the hail. So they're in South Franklin, right along Columbia Pike, and over to 431 and over toward Mac Hatcher, Sullivan Farms, Forest Crossing, Maplewood, Henley, Yorktown, Creekstone, all those neighborhoods over there on the east side of Franklin, and just south of downtown Franklin, you guys are about to get a little bit of hail. And so what we need from you is, first of all, you need to take cover from that inside a building. Don't be, your car's fine, I guess, but, we really prefer you to be in a building. And as this thing comes through, it won't last too terribly long, I don't think. It's a rather small, compact storm, but it is a beast, and it's going to drop some hail. So, and the second thing we need, if you could let us know over, use hashtag TSpotter to tweet us. Let us know what size the hail is at your place or wherever you are. Give us a location and use hashtag TSpotter. Will's over there right now, and he's tweeting on our account, letting everybody know on Twitter what's going on, but also he's going to get reports over to the Weather Service, and T-Spotter has been invaluable tonight and this late this afternoon. So not just in our area, but others. So he'll be getting that over to the Weather Service. It looks to me like the storm is not completely collapsing, but it looks like it definitely is dropping some of its hail. And here's very clearly here from Battleground Park over toward Carriage Park Drive, down 431 Forest Crossing. Definitely pea-size hail there falling, and maybe larger there for Carolyn Avenue, all those roads off of Columbia Pike, all the way down like to the Target down there, and funeral home there on the corner of Mac Hatcher. So definitely some hail falling in Franklin right now, and it's just a matter of what size it is. So right now we've got a picture of pea size. just south of downtown Franklin, but we'd like to know more detail about what you're seeing at your place if you could. Let's go back over to the camera again. Again, this is up in Gallatin looking to the south. This is looking at that Franklin storm. And we've been watching this thing grow and on the camera even, and this thing has gotten stronger and stronger and has looked more impressive on the camera there. But you can see, if you look about halfway up, you just see all that lightning in there, and that's where that hail is. That's where that hail's built up in that storm, and there's a bunch of ice up there, and that is really helping to get the lightning going up there right over Franklin, about 20,000 feet. And then you see that anvil on the very top up there, and I mean, this thing is a pretty well-defined, well-organized storm up there, and we get a really great picture of it here. In fact, let me pan up just a little bit, see if we can get the very top of it. Yeah, maybe a little bit. So I don't want to lose the ground totally, but that's a pretty good view of that storm. Let's see if I can zoom out a little. Now, as far out as we can go. So it's just a big storm. So anyway, let's go back over to radar. Let's talk again, if you're just joining us, about who's kind of in and who's out of this polygon. Leapers Fork, this storm was over you a little while ago, and that has now pushed to your east. So you no longer are in, and you're not in the polygon of this severe storm. Really, it's downtown Franklin, Cool Springs area, McKay's Mill, Nolensville. You're included in this as well, all the way down to College Grove. So right there in Triune, Arrington, Arno, Rutterville, all those areas there along Highway 96 and Arno Road there, and Highway 840 or Interstate 840. That's where this polygon is. So you can see the yellow polygon and see whether you are in or out of it. And this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 9:30 tonight. All right, so about another 20 minutes here. It's 9:10, and so about another 20 minutes on this warning, and then they'll decide whether they need to keep it going or to let it go. And let's go back over here and look at the correlation coefficient. This gives us an idea of where hail might be falling, and still seeing indications here of some hail falling right on the south side of downtown Franklin, all the way down through Forest Crossing, down to Red Wing Farms, and all the way to I-65, and maybe just east there toward South Carruthers Road there, toward Ladd Park and the fairgrounds. So still seeing indications of hail. We're not seeing as much in the way of, still quite a bit of hail being indicated aloft, but eventually this thing's going to drop all of that hail, and that's what we don't want to happen. So let's go back over here. This is to the camera. The structure of the storm has changed just a little bit. And I know we're losing the daylight on it. It's a little bit harder to see, but we're seeing that the structure is just a little more fuzzy than it was earlier. It's not quite as crisp. And so we'll have to see if this storm starts to lose some organization there in the mid-levels. But you see all that lightning in the mid-levels. So not even as much at the ground. There is a lot at the ground. But there in the mid-levels, you just see all of that lightning. That's right where that core of hail is. And that's a very classic hail textbook setup there, as far as kind of seeing where the hail is. Up in the upper levels there, you see things, they're just not quite as defined as they were. And we'll see if this storm starts to lose some intensity. Hopefully it will. We do not want to deal with anything like what they dealt with down in Marshall County and Bedford County a little bit earlier. That was bad news, man. They had some hail almost the size of your palm down there in Chapel Hill and just to the east, man. It was bad news. So we don't have any indications that that's going on here in this storm. And so that's a good thing. Really, I think, Will, we're still only up to about, what, pea size with this one? Trying to go through
the
some
only thing
reports
I've seen verify, and anything that I've seen verify, even a potential hail event is pea-sized hail. So that's the largest thing we've seen. People keep asking about tornado concerns. No, I mentioned this on Twitter earlier. If we don't mention tornado, that's because there isn't a threat for tornado, right?
Yeah, so, that's a great point.
Trying to get us to talk about that, right? We're not going to take that bait. I still think that the wind threat moving south is pretty significant, especially going through that area around Williams County Fair. We had some wind come through there earlier. Nothing damaging, but it will get gusty ahead of this storm, really dropping its big, intense core further south. Still looking for reports of 1-inch hail or greater to help verify that warning, but not seeing it.
Yeah, we just had a new one come in Forest Crossing. We talked about them just a little bit ago. That's pea-size there. So, Will, you mentioned the velocities and the wind here just a little bit ago. This is TBNA. This is a radar up in Nolensville that we use a lot. And what I want you to notice is right here, you see the reds and the greens departing each other and going in opposite directions. That's a little downburst, and it's that right there, is not going to cause a bunch of trees to come down and that kind of thing like we saw in Nolensville a little bit ago. But that will be pretty breezy. And so we're seeing that right there on Highway 96, just east of 65 around South Carruthers and that kind of thing. But not, really not seeing.
I've got a quarter hail report.
Got a quarter? Oh, yep.
Yeah, downtown
sure thing.
Franklin.
Downtown Franklin. Yep. Thanks, Corey, for that over on Twitter, showing quarter. It looks like, and man, I'm about to sneeze again. This is not good. I mowed grass today, which.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. That's probably a mistake. It was a mistake, actually. It was hot. But that's all right. It's done. So, quarter size hail there in Nolensville, it looks like. And Amanda sends in another one on Twitter over there. Yeah. Looks like 1-inch hail near the historic Main Street in Franklin. Yes, it looks like downtown Franklin did get some of that. Yeah. Getting some of that hail earlier, and that showed up pretty clearly right there on our. I know it's a little hard to tell, but when you know what you're looking for, it looks like right in there in downtown Franklin, especially on the south side. That was a good read, especially right here, man. Right here, just east of like around Yorktown and Henley and Cobblestone Court. Could have had definitely some 1-inch hail there. Pretty solid hail core coming down. So the storm now extends to the east toward Trinity and Trinity Park, Cedarmont, Nestledown Farms, those neighborhoods off of Highway 96 or Murfreesboro Road, heading to the east over toward Arrington. But the core of it, the strongest core of this, appears pretty clearly to be right there around the hospital and right there around the 65, the 65 and Highway 96 exit. And I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try to get the City of Franklin traffic cameras up here, because there's one right there. All right, now all right, let me pull that up over there. Haven't done this in a while. Okay, here we go. Cars are moving slow. This is Highway 96 and I-65, and it looks like there actually could be a hail core right over there. So the cars are moving. In fact, you see the cars actually stopping on I-60. Guys, don't do this. Look at them stopping under the bridge on I-65. That's at the very bottom of your screen. That's I-65 going south, and people are stopping under the bridge. That is incredibly dangerous. Incredibly dangerous. I get trying to save your car, but there have been people seriously hurt doing that. So if you know anybody driving on the interstate, I mean, good grief. I get it, but that's very, very dangerous. So it looks like the hail, by the looks of that, it looks like the hail now is right over there around 96 and I-65. So let's go back over to our radar here. You see these purples here. That's the hospital. This is I-65 here. and Highway 96. So it looks like as that pushes east, Cedarmont, Radcliffe, Rosemont, Abington Ridge, Trinity Park, Nestledon Farms, all those neighborhoods there east on 96 could expect to get some hail. Arno Road area down to Page High School. We'll have to see. It's going to be a little bit before it gets there. But again, you're back here looking at Highway 96 and I-65. I'm going to see if I can, let me grab another camera here that's
I've got one here.
Closer to the hail core. It looks like the cameras are too, they don't go as far east as the hail core now, but the hail core is about over here on East 96 toward Arno Road, but there's no cameras there. Do you have one that's showing some hail, Will?
I don't have one that's showing some hail, but I do have one that's showing pretty snarled traffic indicative of very heavy rain and hail. 65 and 56 on Smartway, vehicles pulled over.
Yeah.
Like it just blew through there.
Yeah, so it looks like 60. It should let up on 65 here pretty soon, but the hill core now looks, it's pretty clear here on when I'm looking here. Really stretching up and down 96 could be some small hail, maybe a little smaller than it was. It looks like that's maybe come down. Hail sizes on radar being indicated a little bit smaller than they were. My guess is this thing, we noticed on the camera a little bit ago that it looked like it might be getting a little bit less organized, and that's hopefully going to be the case here. You're looking here back at the camera in Gallatin looking south. So of course we've lost virtually all the daylight now, but still seeing some pretty gnarly lightning strikes there, and we just can't see the structure of the storm quite as well as we could. Let's zoom out just a little bit. Let's go over here, and let's zoom out a little bit and see what else is going on. Davidson County, you guys are good. Y'all have been pretty much in the clear for a while now. Down here to the south, though, Williamson County, it's just it has just been it's been pretty rough, and especially down in the southeastern part of Williamson County and over toward Nolensville today. Just been very kind of a difficult evening here. So let's go down. Let's look at some roads and let's kind of figure out exactly where this hail core is right now. This is let's see here. This right here is going to be 96. This up and down here, looks like there's probably some hail falling there. That's Arno Road. This here is going to be that's North Chapel Road, and Trinity Road's going to be over in here. So those are some of the roads that are getting, some of the hail perhaps, and it looks like actually some of the purples are disappearing. Let's hope this thing's weakening. And it looks like radar is pinging. This is just a radar estimate, but it says there's 100% a possibility of hail in this storm. And we've seen reports of that, so we know that's the case. And a 30% chance of severe hail falling. So it kind of tries to decide how big is the hail, and there's about a 30% chance. The radar says that the hail at this point is now severe. So hopefully that comes down and doesn't go up. But let's see, Will, I'm looking back on reports here. Dimes and smaller in Forest Crossing.
Yeah, and so as this is pulling east of Forest Crossing, it doesn't surprise me that the backside of that storm has some smaller hail flowing out of it. But we did get a number of 1-inch reports, and I have no trouble believing, especially using the maximum estimated hail size product, that 1-inch hail is definitely possible just east of Williamson Medical Center going down 96.
Yeah, I agree with that. Looks like up and down 96. Yeah, the Weather Service here is actually noting that they're noting that the storm appears to be weakening as well. The problem with the storm weakening is that it's usually when the storm starts to weaken is when it just drops its big cache of hail that has been storing up in the storm and been gathering. Because the way hail forms is the updraft holds it up and cycles it, and that's how the hail grows. It just cycles up in the storm, up and down in the storm, refreezes, and then when that updraft doesn't exist anymore, enough to hold that hail up, it comes crashing down, and that can be when the storm starts to weaken. And I bet you that's what's happened here. It sort of reached its peak. It was holding all of that hail up in the storm, and then it kind of
that
reached.
that MEHS just collapsed, just like you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on here. I think the storm really sort of reached its peak and had the energy to hold that hail up, and then it's just collapsed. It's like cutting the legs out from under it. And so, of course, now these are areas as well that have had, they had some storms earlier. And so eventually we're going to start losing some of our energy, available energy here to support these storms in this form. So back over to the camera, we're kind of watching the lightning over here off screen, and it's pretty impressive, but honestly, it's getting a little bit less than it was. So we're not seeing quite as much lightning up there in the mid-levels as we were seeing earlier. I mean, it was like once a second up there, Will, a little bit ago, and it's backed off just a little bit there in the mid-levels, indicative of it really dropping. It's all of that ice and hopefully that is a sign of it weakening. So, yeah, big downtick in the lightning there on that Franklin storm, according to the camera here from Gallatin looking south. All right, so back to radar here. McKay's Mill, you're kind of on the northern side of it. Trinity, though, it looks like you guys are going to be in this thing, but it doesn't look like as much of a hailer as it did. In fact, here it says the radar's estimating severe hail probability is down to 0. And it's estimating half-inch size hail. It takes 1-inch size hail to be severe. And but now this is just a radar estimation. This is frequently off, but it just is kind of a good starting point to determine the health of a storm. And these numbers were crazy high down in Chapel Hill and northern Bedford counties earlier, and actually they were pretty accurate. And so we can give maybe some credence to these numbers here in Williamson County. Hopefully that means that this is coming down some. So it looks like the strongest core now appears to be, there's McKay's Mill, Williamson Medical Center. This is going to be Clovercroft Road that runs from like near the medical center off east over to Wilson Pike. A pretty strong core there on the lowest scan near some of these new neighborhoods over there. Like Taproot Farm is out there. Yeah, I kind of know where that is. So between 96 and Wilson Pike on Clovercroft, and another pretty strong core over there along Clovercroft on the east side of Wilson Pike. So there's Burke Hollow Road there, and you got Clovercroft Road here. And again, these are some areas that had the storm earlier today. New radar scan coming around here should update and let us know where this core has moved. And yeah, it looks like it's getting a little bit weaker, at least at the surface. So that core now about to cross over Burke Hollow Road. And then back to the west, we're starting to lose our purples, and this is good news. So we're checking reports over here, and if you have a report to send us, the Weather Service would love to know what kind of hail you're seeing out there in Williamson County. And Will, looks like we got maybe a quarter size or two.
Yeah, we got a couple more quarter reports that came in, but at this point, Andrew, I'd also be very interested if there's any street flooding or creek flooding, especially in eastern Williamson County, with what came through earlier and what's coming through now. Not saying that's a possibility for everybody, but I sure would be interested in hearing about any flooding that anybody's seeing. I'm looking at the QPE 12-hour. There's some spots where we've gotten, more than an inch. And in the 1 hour, especially just east of Franklin, that guy dropped a lot of rain. So I'd be interested in far eastern Williamson County if there's any creek or street flooding showing up.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the 3 hour, and now this updates, I think, every hour, so it's not going to show as much of the Franklin storm yet. Nope. But over here on the 3 hour, you see over in eastern Nolensville, and I drove actually that area over here in east of Nolensville over to Rutherford County earlier and saw the creeks running pretty high, and we haven't seen that in a while. But that verifies here. That's about 1.2, 1.3 inches there, estimated on radar. And that looked about right. I mean, it was pretty impressive. impressive. They even had some 2-inch readings over there in Rutherford County. This is the 6-hour product. So it looks like, most of our rain's been in southern Williamson County, not much in the north, but this storm over here in Franklin's going to kind of fill in the gap here a little bit over here around Trinity and Burke Hollow over to Cool Springs. So this will fill in just a little bit as time goes on our radar estimated product. So yeah, Will, I agree. I think some of these areas could see a little bit of creek flooding, especially right over here between Nolensville Road and over to Rutherford County.
Yep. And I don't know, Andrew, if you put your hydrology hat on, I don't know what creeks run through there.
Yeah, they're mostly tributaries. Of course, you've got Mill Creek, and I can tell you Mill Creek can handle a lot right now. It's virtually running, it's not dry, but it's running at minimal flows right now. And basically just spring water from upstream. And so it can handle a lot, and it's mostly just tributaries that are taking on, a little bit more water. So it'd be your creeks and your ditches. And if you have areas in your yard that typically will flood in a really heavy rain, it might do that for, during this heavy rain and, a half hour afterwards. But we're not expecting, I'm not expecting anything, to hit the gauges and get them into flood territory on the rivers or creeks. So hopefully, our ground is just so parched, and I can attest to that mowing today. I felt like I was mowing a desert. So it can take a lot of water. So storm appears to be exhaling and sort of broadening out some. So we have, was that your dog or mine? I couldn't tell.
Mine. Scared me.
Okay. Storm appears to be broadening out some and getting, it's not as strong. These are heavy rains, but not extreme. And it doesn't look like we have a lot in the way of hail. Yeah, not seeing a lot in the way of hail here.
Okay, cool.
Let's go to, let's run this product here. Yeah, maybe just a little bit of hail down Wilson Pike toward Arrington and back to the west. But I can't imagine that would be very big. So, it looks like the Weather Service is going to let this expire. What's that?
Yeah, that was my question. How much time left on this morning?
Well, it just disappeared off my map. So if that's right, I think we're good to go.
Yep.
So yeah, it looks like the warning has expired. Yes, in fact, it just did. It's 9:30. So the warning just expired in Williamson County. It doesn't look like they have any reason to reissue that. It looks significantly weaker than it was. Let's go back to the west real quick before we jump off of here. There was a pretty strong storm back to the west here in Hickman County. And yeah, even that thing appears to be weakening now, and that was going to miss us, it looks like. So that thing's coming down too. And it looks like the storm there in Williamson County as well. Let's kind of zoom in and watch how that tracked. And yeah, really south parts of Franklin, really downtown Franklin to the east. That's all it was. Downtown Franklin, just south of town, and then over to the east, but it looks like it's come down below severe limits now. So, Will, round 2. We've done round 2 here. Hopefully there's not a round 3. But we are still looking for reports. If you did have some hail in Franklin, let us know. That doesn't look like a widespread hailer. Looked like just, kind of on the south side of downtown Franklin, and that was about it as far as any significant hail. But let us know if you had any, quarter-size hail, anything like that, and we'll get that over to the Weather Service. Otherwise, you guys have a good night, and, of course, we'll be over on Twitter, and we'll jump back on here if we need to. But right now, we don't see anything threatening us at the moment as far as severe goes. So y'all have a good one.